Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Timmy B, host of the Fight Insight podcast, the best damn podcast that your friends are not already watching. So go get them to follow and subscribe to us. Hit the like button, do all that stuff. Today's episode, we have an incredible commentator from Oktagon MMA, Mr. Bryan with a Y Lacey. And then, Bam Bam, we're going to talk about a great conspiracy theory that I have cooked up involving our good friend Kayla Harrison, the champ. Bam Bam, let's get to it, my man.
Let's go, Timmy B. Hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fight Insight Podcast.
All right. Before we get to our guest, we're going to talk about a few things, Bam Bam, and then we will end with our guest, which we actually spoke to last week. But the big thing is, of course, we saved it for this week because Oktagon 72 happens this weekend. So this will get you pumped up for Oktagon 72. Make sure you check out those shows. Bryan, I know you are a former UFC fighter and a UFC veteran and a UFC legend. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm getting a little bit worn out of the UFC. A little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
It comes and goes, right, in waves, and I feel like they're hitting honestly, they're hitting a little bit of a slow time now, I feel.
Little
Do
plateau.
You feel that at all?
Little plateau. I definitely, honestly, so I normally watch fights, pretty often, pretty much every weekend whenever they're on. There has been some that it's, just not tuning in. Obviously, I have my own things going on in life too, but just haven't been as intriguing, I guess. So maybe just kind of plateauing a little bit. And then, like you said, there's Oktagon out there now too. I've been tuning into them, watching those, some great fights, some great great fighters with good personalities and stuff, keeping it exciting. So they put on a great event and great show. So it's fun to tune into those. I'm definitely taking some advice from you as well and tuning into other productions, some kickboxing, Muay Thai as well. Normally I'm just been watching the UFC and stuff, so it's just kind of venturing out a little bit. But it's good to see. Like you said, I think maybe it's plateauing a little bit, getting a little flat, but there's a lot of other great organizations out there to tune in and keep you active with fights.
And that's the thing, Bam, and that's why it's so important too, because it's so important to support these other organizations so that young fighters have a place to grow up, where they have a place to go, and you want more professional places so that they have more opportunities when they do turn pro. That said, friend of the podcast update, I want to shout out a few things here. First up, Rageworks Podcast Network. We've been with them since day one, and this is episode, 227 or something like that. So they have been with us from literally day one. I appreciate them. RageworksNetwork.com. Then we're part of the Sweep the League Network and the Refocus Network. Those guys are incredible. Bam Bam, when I search Fight Insight Podcast, I find it on their network before I find it on my own page like that. I don't know what they do, but they somehow are able to market incredibly. So I really appreciate them. Friend of the podcast update, Kiana Cub Montenegro. Bam Bam.
Yes, I remember.
A big win in her pro debut. Not only that, Bam Bam, she gets fight of the night. Yes. They are pumping her on their social medias like crazy. They have fallen in love with Cub, as you should, awesome. Because she's such a great personality. She's got such a great background. She's the perfect package for an MMA fighter, and so she's so cool, man. She got some nice blood on the face, in her win. She had the very cool outfit. She got the kids cheering her on. So I'm so happy for her. So cool. And Ringside Rain, my former co-host, was announcing that they were hugging it up, and so they're all buddy and stuff like that. So that was really cool for Ringside Rain to be there and to be there for that moment. And I'll tell you, she's been kicking ass, man. She is leveling up her announcing, and I'm so proud of her, man, because she is really, really doing a good job. She's getting in the face of the fighters when she's announcing. She's walking up to them, and they're walking up to her. They're fist bumping her. When she started, or when she was on this podcast, we used to talk all the time, let's hope that someone fist bumps you, because that would be a really cool moment. Dude, it's happening all the time now. The fighters are so into it and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Amping the fighters up, getting them ready to, go to war. They get excited with a good announcement, telling their, letting everybody know who they are and everything. It gets pumped up.
Yeah.
Crowd gets going, and the fist bump's always there. You get pumped up, get excited. You gotta give them their props when they get to announce you, right?
And the thing is, Bam, is that like she's worked hard to develop her own style. She didn't copy anyone. She didn't copy anyone's tempo, their words, nor nothing. And so what she does is she'll go when she announces them and when she announces the winner, she'll go and fighting out of the red corner. Like she goes and fight, and it's like it's a her thing, her own thing. And I think the crowd now over the couple years, now they're really learning that. And so they're like saying it along with her. Freaking cool as crap. But for me, Fight League Atlantic 20 went down last weekend. Absolutely incredible event, man. And we had our friends Abdelaziz, who's now 8-0 as a pro. Dana White, you bastard. Call Abdel. He's waiting on the call, man. That's it. This dude's going pro. Going to the UFC. So let's make that happen. We had Lucas Mayhem Hammond. He's been on the podcast before. He fought. Incredible fight. And Mean Devin Turner, of course, was on that card as well. He did not come away victorious, but dude, he's such a cool dude, man. He started the fight. Yeah. They touch gloves. He walks up, drops down, body shot cross. Very interesting way to start a fight. It was freaking cool as crap, man. I liked it. Yeah. He was great. And then, of course, like our friend Derek Clark, who's one of the co-founders and co-owners there. So that was an incredible event. I will put this my staff badge up behind me, as I always do. I also want to say your friend ruined the debut Patchy mix, Mario Batista. How happy were you about that?
Yes, I was pumped. Definitely was rooting for him and pushing for him, and man, he had an amazing performance, outstanding performance, and I definitely don't think he gets the credit he deserves. Especially he beat Jose Aldo and got like grief and like said it wasn't a great. People were saying some stuff about it and stuff like that. I think it was just more so for the love of Aldo, but now you see this and you got this guy that everyone's saying he's one of the best in the world. He just wasn't in the UFC and all this stuff. The best, coming over here and Mario just puts on a clinic on him, and has his way with him. So I don't know. I was super pumped and impressed by the performance. So happy to see him succeed, do great things, man. I think the belt is in his near future.
Definitely, man. You cannot deny him, because guess what would have happened if Patchy Mix had won that fight? They'd be giving that bastard a title shot. So sorry, man. Batista just pulls off the upset. You gotta honor that, man, and give him a good shot. If not title shot, #1 contender for sure. Because
#1 contender, absolutely.
Because that's bantamweight, right? Bantamweight.
Yes.
Because I think the champ is gonna fight Mr. OnlyFans, Corey Sandhagen, and so so it looks like you're right. Batista should be lined up
contender spot,
#1 contender, or just sit it out and give him the next one. Either
way, absolutely,
So that is very exciting. Next week on the podcast, Bam Bam, we are going to have possibly 4 guests. That will be the first time ever. We will have 4 guests. 3 of them are 3 of your friends that may be showing up. Do you want to shout out their names now, or are we leaving that as a surprise?
Maybe leave it as a surprise just in case they don't.
In case they say no?
Yeah, I don't think they'll say. I think they'll love to come on. I just, with obligations, they work and coach and teach as well. So, and also have, some jobs. So, I just,
Well, look, you shun us once, you never get an invite again, Bam Bam. So they got one shot at this, right?
But I guess you can root for them. They fight next week. So Chris Benton, Sam Kaplek, and J.R. Banks, they're all fighting in Tennessee next week.
Nice.
Next weekend.
Dude, I'm so pumped.
Next weekend, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be...
Are you going to be there? Are you going to be there with them at the fights?
It's in the air right now.
I want to see you there, man.
I have to check on some things, but
Coach Bam Bam.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
Been helping out to get ready. So
right.
Excited for them to perform.
But I would like to see you in the corner slapping them to get them ready as they get into that cage.
Wake up. Let's go.
Yeah, you learned how to slap from the hand of God himself, Darren Godfrey, right?
Yeah,
You got to snap that neck and
yeah.
give it to him. Aside from those three great kids, man, we are going to have the returning bare knuckle fighter, the man that I'm not happy to say my wife was like, wow, when she saw him live in London. That is Chazzy Boy Wasserman, Bad Boy Wasserman. Look, I'm very excited to have that guy back. He's co-main eventing the BKFC event in London. So very happy to have Chaz Wasserman back on the podcast. We'll have him next week. Look, one quick thing I want to talk about before we get to our guest. It is this. I did not talk to you about this, but this is my conspiracy theory. But
okay,
Kayla Harrison.
Yep.
I forgot. Here's myself and Nicole Bam Bam McMahon at the weigh-ins.
Nice.
Yeah, she was very cool, man. She had made some very cool signs for her friend that won her debut, which was the bipolar Barbie. Awesome. The bipolar Barbie, Kristen Brenton. And Nicole had made like pictures of Barbie with like a bloody knife with glitter. It was beautiful, but great fight for her.
That's awesome.
And Nicole is like front row waving her flag and doing it. Like she's really freaking a team player, man. So that was very cool. So we have Kayla Harrison wins the fight as
dominated.
The entire planet expected, right? I was going to retire off all the winnings I would make off my bet if Venezuelan Vixen won. But Kayla Harrison wins. Here is the rankings, Bam Bam, of the Bantamweight division now. So now you've got Kayla Harrison as champion. Juliana Pena moves to 1. Raquel Pennington 2. Ketlin Vieira 3. Norma Dumont. Macy Chiazon. Irene Aldana. And Aylin Perez rounding up the top 10. Bam Bam. Hold on. Let me get my Conspiracy of the Week banner. Bam Bam.
Let's hear it.
We are closing the female 135-pound division. That's it. There is no point in us continuing this division.
Now that there's just right now, or like after another fight, or
who do you want to see Kayla Harrison fight in that list?
I don't think she's gonna fight anybody in that list
because she's fighting Nunes.
That's
bullshit, man. That is so bullshit.
I think that's the fight that happens.
I don't like that fight at all. I think Nunes gets whomped on that fight. I don't know how much she's training. I don't know how much she's into it. Is she coming back just for money, like a Henry Cejudo thing? You're gonna give up your legacy?
I mean, I think she would prepare. Obviously, give herself enough time to prepare and get ready and all that. But at the same time, I honestly would rather her not return. I think she did awesome. She had a great career. She's the best women's fighter, in the world. Or at the time, huge legacy. I feel like, why come back? I am assuming the money is going to be outrageous. Great. But at the same time, like I'm sure she's already made great money and, enjoy retirement with her family and her kids and her wife. And, I feel like, coming back, I guess, maybe she's thinking doing like the GSP thing. You come back one and done. So problem with that is
but you're not going to win.
If she wins though, like what then? Like automatically you win, you're gone, boom, it's up. The next fight is for an open thing again, open weight class, open title. So
she is 37 years old, Amanda Nunes. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit older for a female fighter. I don't know how old the female fighters normally get. I have no idea. When you look at who Amanda Nunes fought and beat: Irene Aldana, Juliana Pena, Megan Anderson, Felicia Spencer, Jermaine Durandamy, Holly Holm, Chris Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, Valentina Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, Valentina Shevchenko, Sarah McMahon, Shayna Baszler. Holy crap, that's a who's who.
Yeah.
Of women bantamweight fighters, right?
Yeah.
Now let me go quickly to Kayla Harrison. And no offense to this, because obviously
That's just different time too, honestly.
Different, but this is what I'm saying. This is why right now I'm a little bit fatigued of UFC. Right now, the division's maybe not super hot. Now let's look at Kayla Harrison, Juliana Pena, Ketlin Vieira, Holly Holm, Aspen Ladd, Martina Jindrova, doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, Caitlin Young, Marina Mokatkina, Taylor Guardard. Like, dude, I don't know these people. No offense. I'm sure you're all lovely people and great fighters, but for her to then essentially beat Juliana Pena, Holly Holm, not in her prime anymore, Ketlin Vieira, and Amanda Nunes, I don't think that makes you the greatest female in the world or the greatest of all time. I think Nunez's resume far surpasses that resume. And this is not wrestling.
Bam, but you can't go back and
I know.
Yeah, you can't go back and build the thing. The thing is like when Amanda was fighting, obviously there was, a laundry list of good women coming up, and I mean, there still is, but they're just not as established as those were, So
I know.
It's just it's tough. But I think out of all those names on the list, and then I add Amanda Nunes to that, I think Amanda Nunes is the fight. Like, of course, she calls her out because you look at the list and you look at Amanda Nunes, and it's like, of course, Amanda Nunes is the right choice there.
Of course, but this is
nothing against those girls.
No, of course, but this is not WWE wrestling, right? This isn't like we need someone to pass the torch. We need Hogan to lose to Lex Luger or something like that, right? Like, this isn't like a passing the torch thing. Like, this is your legacy, man. So why would Nunes come back? I guess she's coming back for $1 million, but why would you come back just to probably lose to this girl and give her the satisfaction of now saying, I am the greatest of all time, when that's BS? The greatest of all time title is not earned by a win over somebody. It's your resume.
Yeah, like the greatest of all time doesn't. Well, I guess you're thinking, well, in a sense, like she's thinking, she's beat the greatest of all time, but that doesn't necessarily, if you beat someone, doesn't mean you take all the things that they were. So
it's MMA math, Bam Bam, MMA math. Just because you beat one person doesn't mean you can beat everyone they beat. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I mean, she could. Sorry, you're not in that time. You weren't in the division. If you had wanted to achieve those accolades, you should have left PFL before.
Now, would it have been? Will it still be like a big thing, a big deal that she beats Amanda? Absolutely. Like,
no, it is not.
It would still be a big thing.
No, she's been raising a kid for the past how many years?
I don't know how long has she been retired?
I don't know. Hold on. Nobody knows. 2020 June 2023. Okay. But she only had she's only had and she only had one fight that year, one fight the year before. So I mean, she was weaning off.
Yeah. I will say, like, when you're away from it, you get that little bit of fire, back. Like, you get that itch. Like, you want to get back to it.
I don't like it.
I'm with you though. I'm honestly with you though. I would rather her not come back.
Yeah.
And just enjoy her retirement and do all that. But I mean, to say like I don't understand it would be a lie, because I do understand it.
Of course. I get it. And hey, like you said, it's gonna be like $1 million plus if she comes
for sure.
back.
Yeah, it'd be a huge payday.
So would you like another Lamborghini? Sure. I mean, she could pull a Stipe Miocic, show up, not, I don't know how much you train for that or prepared, but like, you could go in there, get whooped in a round, and then just walk away with your $1 million, and nobody says nothing, and that's the game. All I'm saying though is, Bam Bam, if the Nunes fight falls out, or after that fight, when you look at this list, I am so sorry, but I don't know that the UFC keeps this division anymore. I think the featherweight division is the flyweight division is super pumping right now. The strawweight division is always pumping. But I don't know that you have enough star power here to keep that division going. And I don't know how long people are going to be excited to just watch Kayla whoop people presumably in like
Yeah.
one round every fight. You know, Juliana did make it to the second round.
Ultimately,
which
too, though,
fantastic,
you have to think about it is how long is she going to continue to do this?
because of that
You know,
weight
it
cut.
being such a hard cut and everything too.
Whew.
Yeah. You know, the weight cut's no joke, and to continue to do that over and over and over again, you know, how many times does she have left to continue to do that? You know, that's going to be tough.
But then what are we? But
So either she's hanging him up, or after making some big payday and winning some good fights, or winning some fights, or you know, she tries to bring back the 145, which would be, you know, a little bit easier of a cover, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that.
There is no division at 145. You're not going to take time to build that up.
I just don't see her being the champ very long, not from losing, but from like just hanging him up and being done because the weight cut is so extreme and everything.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a tough one, but look, it's a very interesting place we're at with the 135-pound division now, which formerly was like one of my favorite divisions when it was Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey and all the drama going on, right? And the Nunes growing up and stuff like that, like in the show, the tough show that they did with 135ers. Like it was good, man. Like it was a cool thing, but it has really run its course, and they're not replenishing fighters. Like there's not a lot on that list. Like you've got Ailin Perez, the girl that does the booty thing, right? The what do you call it when she bounces her bum?
Booty
Ailin Perez, the twerking thing. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Like she's number 10. She's amazing too, but like I need 10 of those girls. I need 10 Ailin Perez's. Not just because I love the twerking, but I need 10 of those girls because you need like people like exciting you for that division, right? So, but you don't. I don't know. Look, man, let's get to our guest. It is a great guest.
Yes.
We recorded it last week, but right now I am
Bryan
drinking
with a Y.
And right now I'm drinking my PG Tips tea, baby.
Oh, get out of here.
Which you will see in just a moment why that is not good for me to do. Bam Bam, thank you so much, man, and enjoy this interview. We really had a good time with this guy, and watch Oktagon 72 this weekend, man. It's always a good show, man. And if you want something different, they're going to be in a 25,000 stadium or whatever it is, man.
Yeah,
go check this out.
Could be awesome. Check it out.
Bam Bam, I am so excited, man. Our guest today is someone that I'm very excited to talk about because he works for the greatest organization in Europe for mixed martial arts, possibly the world, if that's what he has to say. It is Oktagon MMA. Now, this man, he's the play-by-play commentator for them and a presenter for Oktagon MMA. But when I look at his history, Bam Bam, it is absolutely crazy. I think he may be my doppelganger, or he's like the Timmy B in the multiverse, because he's a comedian, a stand-up comedian. And then through his love of mixed martial arts and combat sports, he starts to get into it. His friends say, hey, why don't you start a podcast? He starts doing a podcast like me. Next thing you know, he gets hit up by an organization to start doing commentary like me. Yeah. And now here he is. He's living the dream. And this is so exciting to be able to speak to this man. So please welcome to the show. This is Mr. Bryan Lacey. Where is he?
There he is.
There he is. Bryan Lacey. Why were you late? What's going on?
What an intro. Well, we've got this doppelganger life. So I've just
the hair?
Kids off, and I've got to pick your wife up later. So I don't know. The hair's similar. It's great. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. You know and what I mean? What you've done, you've treated me to a Bryan with a Y. Now that is you know, it's important. There's a lot of pain in this world, but there's nothing more painful than having to, every time you give your name at Starbucks or something, go, it's Bryan with a Y. It's like they're my pronouns. Bryan with a Y. So love you, Bam Bam. Love you.
Yeah. Love to, man. That's all. I hate that. It's the worst thing. It's always like, oh yeah, Bryan. They write your name out. They just spell on their own. No. Sorry, it's Bryan.
I've got friends, and I mean, I use that term "friends" very loosely because in WhatsApp they still spell it with an I. And I mean, these are friends I've had for maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and I still get the thanks, Bryan. Cheers.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Yeah.
Always. I always get that too.
Bryan, I'm so excited to have you here, man. And I have so many questions that I want to ask you. But first off, you're an Englishman, born and raised in England?
English Irish. So yeah. So Irish passport. Raised in England. Yeah, that's where I grew up. That's the mean streets of Huddersfield, just near Manchester. But yeah, that's me.
A lot of bare knuckle fighting in the younger days of Mr. Bryan Lacey.
Yeah, there's a lot of sheep and there's a lot of dogs. That's basically working on farms, doing that type of stuff. But yeah, yeah.
But look at you, man. Now, here's the thing: as someone that grows up over on that side of the pond, what is the best brand of tea?
Oh, Yorkshire Gold. It's the easiest question to answer, and I've got friends because I've abandoned the
Oh no, PG tips.
Literally, I'll tell you this. So I've abandoned the UK. I live in Mallorca, Spain now, and I travel back to the UK very often. And people will say, "Can you pick up?" And tea is probably top of the list where people from the UK that live out there say, "Could you bring me back?" And when anyone asks me to bring back any other brand, I don't. I always just give them Yorkshire Gold, and even if they look at me, I'm like, "You're wrong. You're at this is it." So PG tips. I hope we meet one day, and if we do, I will move you across from that putrid, weak, pathetic brand of tea to a proper Yorkshire cup. All right, and I'm going to ask you a question now. I appreciate you having tea on the as part of the conversation. Do you brew it with the tea bag in first, or do you put the milk and the bag and the hot water in?
I knew milk was coming. So yeah, I was gonna ask if you do it with milk, and I don't do that with milk.
No. But hold on. The question that he's saying, that's because this man is American, Bryan. You can't trust this guy. I'm Canadian.
Wait a minute. You do it with milk?
No. But his question. See, this is the best. Yeah. This is the best combat sports podcast ever, Bryan. Because you don't get this kind of debate anywhere else. What his question is are you putting the milk in with the water while it's steeping, right? That's what your question is?
Yeah. While it's brewing.
I don't know what your answer is going to be, but you are a complete psychopath if you do that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, for me, if I go to someone's house and they put the milk in, then drop the bag into it, sacrilege. I'm out. I'm gone. Family, friends, doesn't matter who it is. It's the wrong way to make it. And I have people who stand by that method, and it's first of all, it's disgusting that you do that, and then second of all, you're not respecting the tea. But anyway, let's talk about fights, boys. I'm getting angry and aggressive. And
I can see it. Look, here's the thing. Oktagon MMA, congratulations on your success with that organization. It is huge. As you may know, as our fans and listeners know, we've had many Oktagon MMA stars on the show. And just so you know, everyone that has come on the show has gone on to win their fight. Dennis Frimpong twice. Will effin Fleury wins. Yeah. And most recent, Max Holzer, he wins.
Yeah, Holzer, yeah.
And then Tomas. Yeah. Mudro.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of them kicking butt.
So I'm about to head, when we drop this mic, I'm going straight into Disney. I'm squaring up to the biggest bloke I can find. All right? This is my chance. This is
immediate.
This is
immediate knockout.
Someone's in trouble. Someone in Disney World in the queue for Mickey Mouse's roller coaster is getting it today, guys. That's it. I'll let you know. I won't break the trend. I'll keep it.
Just walk through the line. Take everybody out so you can get to the front.
Just elbows. They're legal now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Don't stop till the ref pulls you off. That's all.
That's
right.
Don't risk it. Or Goofy gets involved. One or the other.
Yeah.
So look, here's the thing. What a life you have had, man. Because going from stand-up comedy, and I watched some of your old stand-up comedy. I didn't know you were a stand-up comic until I started researching you. Like, I always hear you, but I didn't know that's what you do. Very, very cool, man. Do you still do stand-up comedy at all?
Do you know, I haven't done it since COVID, and it was kind of a thing that both of the jobs that I've had, and the jobs I've had the longest, and that given the most to, and they've both been like hobbies that have got out of control. That have turned into what they've turned into. Truly, like I just went to have a couple of goes at some gigs in London, and then 17 years later, I was still, flying around doing it. And the same with MMA. All the comedians were starting podcasts, and I didn't want to talk about comedy because everyone was doing that. And the only other thing that I truly love is combat sports, is fighting, and MMA in particular. So I started that as a just a bit of fun. Then I talking to other comics, because it's a strange thing, and there are similarities. I won't say, physically the I don't know, the stakes aren't the same as being a fighter, but there's quite a lot of similarities to as comedy and fighting. It's a selfish endeavor. You spend lots of time with self-doubt and trying to figure it out. You take risks and you do your stuff. You even making the walk out to the stage, you have some music going and you walk out and you've got to survive. And I found that there's a lot of comics that were into either martial arts or that were into, it didn't have to even be doing it, just watching the sport. So I talked to comedians to start with, and that was great because it was unlike any other sort of combat sports podcast that was at that time. And we're talking, 12 years ago, something like that, something crazy. And then from there, exactly like you said, I got contacted by a promotion, BAMA, which is big in the UK.
Yeah.
And they said, do you want to come and do some backstage interviews? So I did that. And then I think it was within 6 months of starting the podcast, I was sat Cageside going, how the frig did this just happen? When's someone going to figure out that I shouldn't be sat here?
But that's the amazing thing, man, and congratulations to you, because here's the thing. I'm like, BamBam and I often talk about like the different commentators and the personalities and things like that, but it's really cool, man, when you get people who are not necessarily there because they're a name, right? You're not there because you're a former fighter, because some of them don't do a great job. But you're a guy who's earned his stripes in that, being a promoter, being a commentator, being a presence, being a presenter, and like you earn it there, man. And so congratulations to you. That's really freaking cool. I do want to give a shout out. Okay, so Oktagon MMA set the world attendance record for an MMA event last October with 60,000 fans inside of Bank Park in Frankfurt. Oktagon 72 is going to be Oktagon MMA's third football stadium show in 12 months. It goes down June 14th. 25,000 plus fans in attendance. Is someone ticking something? Is that you ticking? I hear like a tick, tick, tick. Oh, Bam,
no,
you hear it?
No.
You don't hear it?
Might be my pacemaker or something.
Is it getting so excited for the 25,000? So look, 25,000 people. I mean, absolutely friggin' incredible. Here's the fight card. I know it's very small on screen, but there it is for June 14th. That's Oktagon 72. Lots of great fights. Bryan, how is it that Oktagon MMA has exploded so much? Like, how is it that the fans are out there in such droves for these shows?
Yeah, I think when you look back at the journey, and again, it's not even an old promotion. 2016 is when it began. And it's it's always kept the same heart. It's always kept the making sure the fighters are the story, making sure that it's not, the promotion is big, but it's always about telling the stories. And that's my passion as well. As a commentator, I hope that by the time people touch gloves, if you've never watched Oktagon before, you know something about these guys, these girls that step in that cage that makes you care, makes you kind of want to root for somebody or whatever it might be. And for me, it's what caught my eye with Oktagon. I've done commentary and worked on events all across Europe, in Russia, across the UK. And they caught my eye with the shows, like the spectacle, like the fan experience is very cool in the arena. And it's one of my favorite things when people new to our show come. And whether it's the fighters, the coaches, press, media, whoever it might be, when they come to our show and they walk into the arena for the first fight and it's 80% full and it's consistently like that, and it's for the fighters, it's awesome as well to walk out in these, whether it's 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25, 60,000 fans. That experience is something special, but the heart of it is the stories, making sure that we, amplify the people, the personalities that take the risks, sacrifice everything to put it all on the line inside the cage. And it caught my eye back in 2015 when the first fight with Carlos Vermola and Attila Vey, this will be their trilogy fight coming up on the weekend, June 14th. And I couldn't believe that it was real. Like, it's Eastern Europe, you're thinking maybe the ticket prices are dodgy, and then I watched another event and I saw again they were selling it out, and the production level was really high. And then I got to go to them. I was there. My first one was Oktagon 22, nearly 4.5 years ago, and that was during COVID as well. And just the passion for the fighters, for the fights, and the way the fans were, engaged with each story, and it changes the game. Like, we've got a guy on this card, Frederick Vosgrone, who has gone from 9,000, just under 9,000 fans when he first fought for Oktagon to now nearly 500,000 on Instagram. That's life-changing for him. And again, he is authentic, he's different, and what he did in the cage kind of caught people's eye virally. But nothing's fake, nothing's forced, and those people are given a platform where that can happen. And I think that's the difference between us and a lot of shows. And you mentioned that being our third stadium show. No one else is doing that. No one else is doing that, and not just across Europe. I mean, the UFC is the UFC, and it always will be, but there's no other promotion that is consistently selling out over 10,000 seats, 3 stadium shows, new stars coming, €1 million tournament, all this stuff that's going on. It's pretty special, and it's not lost on the people that are in there as well. When we did the Frankfurt stadium show, 60,000 people in Eintracht, the whole team, realized what it was about, what they were working towards. And even afterwards, we all spent the time in the stadium, in the cage, as it emptied, and no one from Oktagon left. And we were just there together in the empty stadium where this craziness with 60,000 fans had just happened. And it was so nice to see everybody take it in for themselves. So it's wild, it's pretty special, and it's not lost on me. I still pinch myself, and the fact we're off to do it again is pretty mad.
It's absolutely incredible. And a few things I want to touch on, but you're talking about like some of the stars that you have, and that really is the big thing, because Bam Bam, when we've been talking like to the different Oktagon stars that we meet, and Oktagon is like growing over here, right, Brian? Like out in the West, it hasn't penetrated as much as it can, but I feel like that's okay because you are dominating Europe, right? And I feel like with all the different countries as well, that really must help as well, right? Because there's always that country allegiance. And so you get the massive fans supporting their countrymen, right? Like in their fights. And I think that's really cool. And that must add to a lot of the allure of Oktagon, because you have all these European countries sending in their fighters.
I think the other thing is as well, and Bam Bam, you'll be able to talk about this, the dream of one day fighting in a stadium, or one day fighting in front of 20,000 fans, when you've come from fighting in sports halls. Like Yesin Ayari, who's fighting Niklas Stolzer, that's in Hamburg, the event afterwards. Both have been in the UFC. Both left Germany to go to the UFC around COVID, that sort of time. And they were, before that, fighting in Germany in front of 1,500 people, 2,000 people, getting paid. Yesin Ayari talked to me about getting paid like €800 for a fight. And then he's come back to what Oktagon have built in Germany, which is, big stars like Holzer, Christian Ekelin, sellout stadium shows, and the whole of Germany have suddenly got this, and in fact Europe, because it's so close together, has got this platform where these dreams can come true, these moments are real, and the fights are real as well. That's the great thing when you look at the card that you put up earlier. The level of fight on there is so great. The competition is real. It's and for me, you touched on it, not breaking into the West. That obviously we're looking to grow, but the aim is to be what we're being in Europe, and not get distracted by trying to go over to America and do that. But I feel like with MMA, and even me, the first bite is kind of with the eye. So when I'm researching some of these fights or fighters, I go back and I watch some of the fights, and some of them are in sports halls, some of them are in other promotions around the world. But I feel like slowly but surely people will recognize that this is a pretty awesome promotion with great fights, great stories, and events that are real. big events. Like 3 stadiums in 1 year is insane.
It's crazy, and it is real. That's the thing, right? The fans in that stadium are real. Tell me the truth. ONE FC, they have a lot of fake fans in the crowd, man. I don't know if you realize this, but at ONE FC, you'll see where there's these little white lights around the stadium, and it makes it look like there's people there. It sticks with little lights. Do you know that? Is this a thing in the industry that you know about?
The only time I've ever seen it is when I did a video recording of one of my comedy gigs, but I needed it. So that's the only way I could sell
That's
out.
good. Yeah.
But like you're out there in these stadiums, 60,000, 20,000, like big stadiums. Yeah. Every show is like that. How much are you guys laughing at UFC when they're in the Apex with 12 people? Like, I mean, that's crazy, right? Like the difference. And if you're an athlete and you're thinking about where do I want to go, obviously everybody we talk to, Bryan, is like UFC is the dream. But boy, oh boy, if your dream is to go fight in the Apex in front of 13 people, go to Oktagon and fight in a goddamn stadium. Like, why would you? How's that a choice?
Well, I do feel like Oktagon's doing great. You know, they've really built a lot. And I love what you guys are doing. Like I said, the stadiums, the fans. You know, I love that you said that you guys put a lot of focus into building these fighters, putting their names out there, telling their stories. I feel like that's not something a lot of promotions are doing. You know, maybe the UFC is doing it. You know, PFL is now kind of trying to do it, but you guys are doing it very, very well. And, you know, you guys are able to connect these fighters. People are able to connect to them, you know, attach to them to in some, you know, sort, not just fighting, but just their lifestyles, anything like that. And that really, you know, draws them into the fight and, you know, they're invested in these fighters now because they can relate to a little bit of part of their lives. And now they want to see them perform. And I think you guys are doing a great job telling their stories and promoting them. And it's really exciting to watch. I love watching the fights. They're always exciting, great fighters, great fights. And
we got to get you over. We got to get you two over to one of these shows.
Yes, I would love to. That would be awesome.
Look,
seriously. Yeah.
Here's the dream.
You could say less. That was awesome. Just that enough. I'm like, yes. Sign me up.
Here's the dream, Bryan. Bam Bam makes his return to MMA in Oktagon MMA. Bryan Lacey is commentating, and Timmy B, who commentates for Fight League Atlantic, does a guest appearance in the commentary booth for Oktagon MMA.
There won't be a dry eye in the house, right?
100,000
with a Bryan with a white. There's no way I'm not being biased in that commentary. We've been through too much, Bryan. We're oppressed. We are oppressed as Bryans with Y's, and it would be an honor. I tell you what, I've been a big fan of you, Bam Bam, for a long time. I followed your whole career through some of those crazy wild fights, wins over the likes of Lawler and you know, Matt Brown. That's legit. That's legit. You were always great to watch, always fun. And forget these other Bryans. Forget the Bryan Taylors. Forget the Caraways. Forget the Bryan Stan. There's only one Bryan for me in an MMA.
Yes.
And,
I appreciate it.
You are the guy.
Thank you.
Look, here's the thing, too. You guys are creating stars and all that, and you're creating stories. But, Bryan, I'm going to help you out for Octagon 72. I did some research. I did some research for you because when I do commentary, when I do commentary, here's the thing, Bryan, and I really appreciate what you said at the beginning. It's all about selling the fighter. And what I really like to do is be able to learn as much as I can about the fighter. And if there's time during the broadcast, if there's a spot for it, share those kind of things because you want to get that out. These people you want, like, they have such great stories to tell. And that's why we do the podcast, is because we can get these stories out. But I did some research for you here. One of the stars of Octagon 72, I just need to let you know because you may not know this, but he is actually born in a lab. He's like Serpentor from G.I. Joe when they merged the DNA of different villains to create Serpentor. This is how we got this guy. We took the DNA of Brock Lesnar mixed with Paddy Pimblett.
Oh my goodness! This is what you get when you
science.
Says a lot.
Wow! I think we just got a new superhero movie made right in front of our eyes there. Now, my thing.
This guy's crazy. This guy's crazy.
Yeah. That Vos Grone is the guy that I was talking about with 9,000 followers before he fought Yorick Montagnac. did this crazy thing. I don't know if you talked about it on your podcast, but basically just he's an elite grappler, a Carlson Gracie black belt. Won Polaris events, Grand Prix. He's legit as far as the grappling, and he's moved into mixed martial arts. And he fought Yorick Montagnac, who is a Sanda specialist, who's a kickboxer, who's a very good MMA fighter as well. But he chased him around the cage and then held onto his leg. And Bryan, you'll be able to talk about this. The grip strength you would need. And he was one-handed at one point, while a monster was trying to, light heavyweight was trying to pull his leg out there, and he kept hold of it, and eventually broke the guy down. And there was a look in Yorick Montagnac. It was like he was being mauled by a dog. And from that moment, the star that is Frederick Vosgrone is born, and now he's got big sponsors. He's on RTL Plus, which is one of the biggest channels in Germany, which is where you can see Oktagon there as well. And his life has changed in one fight, one moment. But it's crazy.
It's absolutely insane. Now, here's the thing. Who should we be on the lookout for in Oktagon MMA? And I know, obviously your commentary can't be too biased, but who's someone that maybe might not be on our radar yet that we should be looking at? Because this is a guy then that I'd want to get on the podcast. So who's the next big thing that hasn't really broken out yet?
Listen, it's 2025, my friend. I'm going to talk about a lady. Is that okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm joking. I'm not joking about this, though, but there's a couple of, and again, you've had Max Holzer on this show already. He's skyrocketed since joining Oktagon. 12 months with Oktagon, he's gone from mid-range and not fighting skills or personality, but just where he was positioned on the cards and the domestic scene, to headlining stadiums. Like he's going to headline. He headlined the last one. Now he's headlining in Hanover, near his home city. There's a lady fighting on this card called Alina Dalaslan. She's from Frankfurt. You'll see she's taking on Dr. Rosa Gumina. Rosa is, I think she's got maybe 9 or 10 MMA fights. She's a kickboxing background. She's actually a legit doctor. She's a lecturer at Polish University. But Alina Dalaslan, this will be her second professional fight. And she is, I don't know why balloons have suddenly arrived.
Whoa,
because we're celebrating Dalaslan.
We're celebrating. But in 2 pro fights, she was a security guard at Oktagon 55. That was a year and a half, 2 years ago. And she watched on. She then moved in. She was a kickboxer. She moved into amateur MMA. She won the IMAF World Championships, and that was with, I think, within 5 or 6 fights of being an amateur, which is crazy. She had an official Oktagon debut back in Stuttgart, which was only in February. Her second fight will be one where she will walk out into a football stadium in Prague. And she has got this amazing story. First of all, she's absolutely beautiful. When you meet her, you'd never imagine she was a fighter. But she was a gymnast when she was younger, and competed at the national level every weekend from the age of sort of 6 to 13. She would be on that scene. Then at the age of 13, the doctors diagnosed her with a heart issue. Now, they didn't know what it was. They couldn't give a specific diagnosis, but what they did was they put her on beta blockers, which I don't know if that's what you call them in Canada and America, but basically they just turn you into a zombie. Then at 13, she was told she's not allowed to do sport. She can't compete. She can't raise her heart rate. So her whole identity as this elite gymnast and as a kid, how important it is socially as part of your life to be in sport, to be with your friends, and it was all taken away from her. So for 3 years, she was on these beta blockers, couldn't compete in sport, had to give up gymnastics, couldn't even play at the playground at playtime. And she suddenly realized when she forgot to take her tablets when she was like 16, she felt better. So she took herself off her medication and didn't tell the doctors, didn't really tell her parents, but started to feel better, started to feel more herself. Her brother then wanted to get into kickboxing, and she's got, I think, 6 or 7 siblings, and she's the oldest. And the mum was busy with the other kids. So they said, we're going to send you with him for the trial class just to keep an eye on him. She went, she took part in the class. She loved it. Her mum signed her up. And then less than 5-6 years later, she's a professional MMA fighter. She's an academic as well. She's got a master's in accounting. She works for Mercedes as an apprentice, and now she'll have her second fight in the cage in a football stadium in Prague. So you talk about beating the odds. You talk about somebody who deserves this maybe more than anyone. I can't even imagine what that's like when you're 13, just being told you cannot be you. But yeah, she's gonna walk out. So I would say just from that story and meeting her and seeing what she's been through and knowing what it's taken to get here, that's one to watch.
Sounds like destiny took its path.
Jeez,
her destiny took its true path of what it was supposed to be, and didn't let her sit back. Yeah.
And can you imagine how dark that time is when, like, what you're going through, and even mentally what you have to put up with when you're and then. But it's one of these things, like when you get older. I'm 46 now. When you get older and you look back at what you felt was your worst time, actually, it was the best corner you ever turned. And she went through that, and that mindset she's now got because she's been through that, and that fighter that came through because that's who she is. That's where she's supposed to be, and I'm very proud of her. I think she's phenomenal. She's a great athlete, and she's got a tough test. It's not an easy fight. There's no easy fight. She's taking on like a 6, 7, 8 fight veteran, but the fact she's there is the special thing for me.
Yeah,
bonkers, absolutely amazing. That is crazy. That's such a great story, and like you just think about like how much of your spirit was forged during that time when you were like taken away from your sports and you had to like overcome all that, like the mental fortitude that you needed to do that. That's going to make her such a better fighter. Like we talk about like fighters that have that go through mental coaches and things like that, but that was mental coaching yourself for 4 or 5 years. Like as you deal with
it. It's like another thing where comedians and fighters sort of they're linked, because you have to go through some bad shit to be a good comic, and I think it's the same. You have to go through some wild shit to be a good fighter as well. So
God damn it, my life has been too soft, Bryan. That's my problem. My life has been too soft.
Why did my mommy and daddy love me so much?
I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate you spending this while you're on your vacation as well. So one thing though, PFL is a disaster. We talk about it all the time on the show. It's a total disaster. It's dying in America and in the West because they can't get a foothold there. I mean, when you look at like who they've got in the audience, when they're doing weigh-ins and there's like no audience in the weigh-ins for the ceremonial weigh-ins and stuff like that, they're doing their weigh-in shows over Zoom sometimes. Like it gets crazy. And then you think like, okay, well, they've got PFL Europe, but you guys are destroying them in Europe. Like it's not even close. Oktagon versus PFL. Now they're going over to Africa and Australia to try and make some organizations out there. How bad? Like we see it over here, but how's the scene in Europe? Are they even a competitor to you?
Yes, I mean it's a brand for sure, and I know a lot of guys that fight on it. I know a lot of guys that work with it, but I think that the truth is the numbers, and I think I'm a mad MMA fan. I watch everything, and even when I reach out to people that I feel are on the same level of obsessed with fighting as I am, they don't watch it. And there's some reason, and again for me, I mean there's great fights they can make in that. I think they missed a huge thing not making the Paul Hughes and Nurmagomedov fight straight after. It was the best fight they've ever had. It's the most press. It was world class, but it feels like they drop those balls so often, and it's like for me, I've got friends that fight in that promotion, and I want it to work for them. I want to see them get the light and the shine that they need, but something just doesn't click. And it's one of those things when I look at Oktagon, you look at the relationship that the promoters have got directly with the fans. You look at Andre and Pavel and what he means, and then you kind of look at the reaction sometimes the fans give to Don Davis and PFL. Something's not clicking, and I don't know if and it's one of those things where they're I wouldn't say stubborn is the right word, but they're either ignoring it's not working and hoping that if we just keep saying it's going, it will turn around. And I'd love it to work. I think the more places fighters can fight, make good money, and have those opportunities, it's a good thing. The landscape needs it. If it just becomes a monopoly, and whether you look at Europe or whether you look at the world with the UFC, that's not great. It's not great in any business. So I really want it to click, but they've got to recognize that something's not working with what they're doing with either the promotion, the fights, the fans. and they've got it. They've got great fighters. They have got phenomenal, and they've got backing. They've got real money. Like they've got, and when you look at Oktagon, it's all. Yeah, well, okay.
Do they have money? I don't know, man. I don't know.
But they're putting the shows on, and they did. And I know it's all slowly coming back, and that's any business. When you see something that's not working and you just pouring money into it, the business sense says stop. It's not working. You've got to change direction. But I think they need to do something drastic in the next 12 months. You look at Dakota Decheva, one of the fastest rising, most sellable, phenomenal. I know her personally as well, just the most amazing, dedicated. She is a role model for every fighter, not just young women out there, but for young fighters moving from amateur into pro. And I just, again, why is she fighting in Africa? Why have we got her? And
because she's the greatest African on the PFL roster.
You got it. That's it. So
this is the only thing that makes sense to me.
PFL definitely needs to take a page out of the Oktagon book and focus more, instead of spreading out and trying to get your fingers in everything, like you said with Oktagon, you guys are focused on what your area right now and growing that slowly throughout Europe, the surrounding countries, all that, where PFL is just like, they were in the US and now they're reaching everywhere, just trying to get their hands in everything. And I think they're doing too much.
They kind of think it's, like it's that thing when you start playing Monopoly. When you get the board, you roll it out, you think, I need a property everywhere. And then suddenly you realize you've got no money. And the guy who's just got Park Lane and Mayfair is killing everybody because they just built the house. It's
great example.
It's their tactics for that. They're buying everything they land on. They're overpaying for it. And then they're getting around to pass go. And it's just not clicking. And again, for me, it's a shame for the fighters. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this plenty of times. Yeah, the more opportunity out there, really, the better it is for all the fighters. In terms of making money and getting your name out there, getting a big following. The more opportunity you have with promotions, and more promotions are out there, being competitive with each other and pushing it is going to help fighters. And it's a shame to really see, what some of the fighters are going through with PFL, and some that have left, or whatever, and. Just when they merge with Bellator, all the problems there, and fighters getting stalled and not fighting and things like that. Like, I hate seeing that for fighters, especially guys who are young and having to put their fighting career on hold for who knows how long. That it's just there. It's already hard enough to make money in fighting, and so when something like that happens to a fighter, it's a big hit, and it's hurtful to see.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is crazy, but I don't want to talk too much about competing promotions, Brian, because it's all about Oktagon. It's all about Oktagon 72. That's where people need to go. Look, if you're going to watch that show, US and Canada, you can watch it at Oktagon.tv. Go check it out, man. It is an incredible show. We're trying to highlight as much as we can because, like you, Brian, and like you, Brian, what we always say.
I'm loving this. Let's just confuse Timmy B for a while. Let's get another Brian on here.
There needs to be more promotions, more opportunities for fighters because there's so many people at the grassroots level that are growing their career, that are trying to become a professional. And when they get to be a professional, we need there to be places for them to earn a living, for them to earn a full living as a fighter. And you can only do that by supporting these other organizations. That's the thing too, Brian, that I really get mad at my gym. People don't watch 1FC. I'm the only guy that's ever watched 1FC out here. I watch Oktagon. I don't not a lot of people know Oktagon. I watch PFL. Yeah. I watch Bellator. I watch Invicta. I love Invicta. I'll watch every friggin' Invicta card. You know what I mean? But people don't watch. They just watch UFC, and it's there's so much more out there, and you got to support. And like I said, I commentate for Fight League Atlantic out on East Coast Canada. There's all these great young athletes. You wouldn't even believe the quality of the fights, Brian. You should check it out, Fight League Atlantic. And look at these great young fighters. I can't wait. One day, a Fight League Atlantic fighter is going to be fighting in Oktagon MMA, and I'm going to be so happy, man.
Then I'll hit you up for some research for sure.
I'll give you all the notes, my man.
I've got a question though. I've got a question for Bam Bam because Muradov is fighting on this next card. So this is me doing some research. What was it like fighting him? I don't know if you know anything about Patrick Kinsella, but Muradov is the highest ranked fighter in Octagon. He's fighting for the interim middleweight belt against a guy called Patrick Kinsella in this next fight. What's your thoughts? What was it like facing him?
Honestly, it was kind of caught me off guard a little bit. He grappled in our fight a lot, wrestled quite a bit, threw me off guard, and he had some sharp.
You hit hard,
striking.
Mate. It's because you hit. I would grab hold of you with every ounce of my being if I ever got.
You know what though? He's a good dude, and we talked, and we definitely talked after the fight. He has some sharp striking, and like I said, it caught me off guard him wrestling so much in the fight. Personally, I was really looking for more of the striking fight, and I actually told him that after the fight too in the back. And his response was, and something that kind of stuck with me, honestly, is he's like, I have to do whatever it takes to win. And so that kind of really stuck with me because, even though, I know how to grapple, I know how to wrestle or whatever, but every time I get in there, I never think about it. The only thing I think about is standing up, throwing down, obviously, and it costs me, and, I lose fights for it and things like that just because, but all in all, it's something that stuck with me. It's like I need to always adapt. I think he's always adapting his game. He's always improving, and that showed in the fight with me and him. Definitely he's improving, with his grappling, his wrestling. The striking's obviously very sharp, and he's good there too. So but he's a smart fighter. He's a smart fighter. He's constantly improving, like I said, and it's just, I'm excited to see him in Octagon now. I missed his last one that he fought in Octagon. I'll definitely be tuning in for this one, and honestly, it would be awesome to share the cage with him again sometime.
Oh, there we go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. There's a tease.
Look, but that's the thing too, and that's what people don't realize. There's a guy who was doing very well in UFC, and for whatever reason, now he's over there in Octagon making waves and kicking ass. So the quality of fighters out there is absolutely incredible. The quality of the commentary is incredible because you got the boy Bryan Lacey on there, man. Look, last question before I let you go. It's something that I ask every guest that comes on the podcast, and I want to ask it to you. Very interested in your answer. It's something that my mom used to ask me almost every day of my life growing up. I want to ask it to you on a scale of 1 to 10, Bryan. How happy are you?
How happy am I? I would say a solid 9.
Because you're at Disneyland or Disney World? Happiest place on earth. Woo! Let's go.
That's a solid 9. There's one of those things. I've got this thing in my head as well where I think it's impossible to be perfect, and everybody does this thing where they chase perfect and it gets in the way of good. And I think, there'll always be a 10. I'll always have days but I think when I look at my life, where I look at, if I was to speak to myself when I was a nervous, shy 14-year-old boy who had no idea what he was going to be, and I tell you, you're a comedian for 17 years and traveled the world doing that, and now you watch your favorite sport, you hang out, you get to talk to Bam Bam on a Tuesday afternoon. I think I'd be a fool to be anything less than happy with. There's always stuff that could be better in life, but it's good. I got a great family. We have a good time. I do the job of my dreams and get to hang out with you guys on a Tuesday, so it's all good.
Yeah,
dude, it is absolutely incredible.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining the podcast, my friend. And I hope this is not the last time. I would love to have you back anytime you want to chat, anytime you've got time to spare, man.
I think me and Bam Bam might break off for a double Bryan podcast going.
It's fine. I'm looking for an out. I've been doing this for 5 years.
Just
the Y, yeah. Y. Yeah, we only interview Bryans with Ys. We go through the turmoils of our life. Yeah.
See how they're all faring out in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. Before I go as well, let me just let people know Oktagon.tv, because Scott Lagdon would kill me if I didn't tell people where they could watch this. Canada, US, Oktagon.tv. Check it out. We got some incredible fights. Carlos Famola versus Attila Vey is topping the card. That's their trilogy fight. That's one of the biggest domestic Czech-Slovak fights we can put on. €1 million tip sport game changer is on there with Kerry Mengazet versus Mitt Stanton. Then we've also got Mate Peñas. They're just such an elite fighter against Piotr Wawrzyniak, who's brutal Polish Punisher, and so many more other fights for people to check out. And of course, the Kinsel Muradov interim middleweight belt as well. So Octagon.tv. Scott Lagden, you don't get to tell me off after this podcast for talking rubbish and just swooning over another Bryan. But yeah, check it out.
Definitely, my friend. Well, thank you so much. And look, I'm very happy to announce that this podcast is brought to you by PG Tips.
Oh, I'm out. Bam Bam, I'll hit you up straight after this. You need better friends.
Bryan, I appreciate the time, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Never steep your tea in milk. And look, man, I'll talk to you again soon. Congratulations. Good luck on the night, and good luck on your career, man. Everything is
enjoy the little vacation as well.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, good to talk to you guys, and I'm sure we'll do it again soon. Take care.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.
Great one.
Bam, bam. That is it. That was our amazing guest, Bryan Lacey. Bryan with a Y. Yeah. Bryan, one more time, I'm going to have a sip of my PG Tips tea just for you, my friend.
I got to be on Bryan with a Y side. We got to keep the Y power strong and bond together on this. So I can't agree with your tea choice.
Yeah. No, you don't even know what we're talking about, Bryan. You don't even put milk in your tea.
I don't.
Like a
no, I don't really even
savage
drink tea. I'm a coffee guy, so
no. English, man. English. Here we go. Bam Bam. Look, next week we're gonna have an incredible show. We may have 4 guests. First time ever, but definitely we're having Chazzy Boy Wasserman. He's going to be back. BKFC co-main event in just a few weeks. So, guys, thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff on the show. Bam, bam. We are out of here, my man.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy. Bye.